All right, let's just dive right in. I want you to imagine something. Imagine you have to write a message, a warning sign that has to be understood 10,000, 50,000, maybe even 100,000 years from now. I mean, think about that. It's a message that has to survive the rise and fall of entire civilizations, the death of every single language we speak today, and still communicate pure, absolute danger. That's the incredible challenge we're going to unpack in this explainer.
So, it all starts with this very strange kind of cryptic phrase. This is not a place of honor. What on earth could possibly need a warning like this meant to be etched in stone for all time? Well, to really get it, we need to zoom all the way in, right to the very beginning of the whole story.
And believe it or not, that beginning is at the atomic scale. This whole massive problem, this huge challenge of talking to the deep future, it all starts with one tiny unstable element, uranium.
Now, what's really wild about this slide is just how lopsided it is. See, when you dig uranium ore out of the ground, 99.3% of it is this stuff, U-238, which is relatively stable. The part we actually want for energy, the part that splits, the U-235, is just a tiny, tiny fraction, 0.7%. So to get that little bit, we have to enrich it, which leaves behind these massive, and I mean absolutely massive, piles of radioactive U-238 as waste.
So, what's the big deal with this waste? What makes it so dangerous? Well, it's something you can't see, you can't smell, you can't taste. It's called ionizing radiation. And probably the best way to think about it is like a constant storm of microscopic cannonballs. If this stuff gets inside your body, those tiny cannonballs are just continuously firing into your cells, shredding your DNA.
And that right there is the crucial question. How does it get inside the body in the first place? Well, it turns out our own biology can be tricked into basically welcoming this poison with open arms.
It all happens because of something called molecular mimicry. You see, as that uranium-238 decays, it turns into other elements, and one of those is radium. Now, if you remember your high school chemistry, and you look at a periodic table, radium sits right below calcium. And to our bodies, they look almost identical. It's basically a case of mistaken identity happening at a cellular level.
So the process is it's insidious. The radium gets into the water or the food supply. Your body, which is always looking for calcium to build strong bones, sees the radium and says, "Hey, close enough," and grabs it. It then deposits this radioactive imposter directly into your bone matrix. And once it's there, it becomes what's called an internal emitter. Basically a permanent little radiation factory right where your body's trying to produce new blood cells.
And this brings us to the part of the problem that is just truly, truly mind-bending. This isn't a danger that lasts for a few years or even a few hundred. We are talking about deep geological time. Get this, the half-life of uranium-238 is 4.5 billion years. Billion with the B. That is roughly the age of planet Earth itself. So the waste we've already created is going to be dangerously radioactive long, long after our cities have literally crumbled into dust. And this timeline, wow, it just perfectly illustrates the insane mismatch, doesn't it? Look at that tiny sliver for all of recorded human history. The minimum time we are required by law to guard this waste is twice the length of all of our written history. And even after 100,000 years, it's still a threat.
This quote, it really gets to the core of the ethical problem here, doesn't it? For the benefit of really just one generation, our own, we have created a burden that is going to last for literally thousands of future generations. It's a kind of debt on a scale humanity has never, ever had to deal with before.
Okay, so with the scale of the problem now crystal clear, we finally arrive at the central question. How on earth do we communicate this kind of danger across such an unimaginable gulf of time?
I mean, really think about that for a second. We can barely read English from 1,000 years ago. What chance does any language we speak today have in 10,000 years? And symbols change too. You know, a skull and crossbones means poison to us, but to some future culture, it could be a symbol for pirates, a fashion statement. Who knows? Language rots, symbols rot.
So this is where scientists got really creative and, frankly, a little terrifying. They proposed we should try to bypass language completely and communicate on a primal physical level. The idea was to create what they call hostile architecture, things like a landscape of thorns, which is just giant spikes of concrete jetting out of the earth, designed to look painful and menacing. The goal here isn't to be understood with your brain, but to trigger a gut feeling of dread, to tell people, on a purely instinctual level, this place is wrong, get away from here.
Which brings us all the way back to the message itself. What words, if any, could possibly go along with these terrifying structures?
What is the final message that we, the ancestors, should leave for the future?
And this is what they came up with. It's brilliant, really. It's designed to be the ultimate anti-monument. It appeals to a super basic human trait. We're always looking for things of value. So, by explicitly stating that there is nothing good here, nothing to find, nothing to celebrate, the hope is that it will repel any future explorers or archaeologists, or even treasure hunters.
But here is the central, absolutely maddening paradox of this whole thing. The very act of creating a huge, permanent structure that's designed to shout, "Go away," might be the exact thing that makes future generations lean in and ask, why? It's kind of like the Indiana Jones effect, right? A big, mysterious structure looks like it must be protecting something valuable. Our warning could accidentally become an invitation.
So this is the unsolvable question we're left with. Is it better to build these huge, elaborate warnings and risk attracting the curious? Or is it better to just hide the waste as best we can, bury it deep, and just hope to God that nobody ever stumbles upon it by accident? There is just no easy answer here. Ultimately, this whole giant, technical, scientific problem, it really just boils down to a profound ethical one. We are the ancestors of the deep future. Our actions today are going to echo for millennia. And taking care of this waste, it's our final obligation. So what does it mean for us right now to be good ancestors? That's the real question this whole challenge leaves for all of us to think about.